Welcome to the Asher Marketing Podcast. This podcast is hosted by Asher Agency, a comprehensive marketing partner for clients across the country. For more information, visit asheragency.com.
My guest is Jennifer Braun. Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. As I mentioned before we hit record, I have known about Reelcraft, don't know much about Reelcraft, but I've known about Reelcraft for a long time, and your name popped up when we were doing some work with Indiana Tech, and I understand that there's a partnership there where your employees have gone through a program and received an education for Indiana Tech. So always glad to see when good companies are investing in their employees. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, love the relationship we have with Indiana Tech. They've been great.
Yeah, well, great. Well, I want to hear a little bit about your education and your path, your career path, if you will. You've been at Reelcraft for 19 years now, is that correct?
Absolutely.
So let's go back to when you were first thinking about careers and what you were thinking of at that time. Maybe that was high school, maybe it was earlier, but what did you think you wanted to do and where did you go from there?
Yeah, well, I didn't think I'd be here. In high school, I really thought I was going to do architecture.
Really?
I really like the creative and the engineering aspect of architecture. I got recruited to what used to be IPFW here in town. I was a two-sport athlete, so I got recruited to play
Which sports?
Volleyball and basketball.
Okay, all right.
And they had an architectural engineering program, and I thought, how great is that, you know?
Yeah.
Came to visit the school and visit, the School of Architectural Engineering, and just kind of at the last minute got cold feet, I think. I just felt like, I didn't want to limit my career possibilities, and like maybe that wasn't creative enough. So I ended up graduating from IPFW with my degree in visual communication and design. And from there, I went to a small company in Indianapolis, kind of did graphic design for them. It was a company that printed on plastic cards, so like sports passes and the little cards that the kids do for fundraising.
Yeah.
But I really, really liked the website design and the aspect of that. So I went back to school. I went to IUPUI and focused on computer science with a concentration in web programming and web design. So I finished with that. Decided to move back to Fort Wayne for some personal reasons, and was looking for a job. Found the job through Reelcraft and was hired in as an advertising designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So were you originally from Northeast Indiana?
I'm originally from around Indianapolis, so from central Indiana.
All right. So went to then IPFW for athletics.
Yes.
Then this became home and now is home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So for those who may not know much about Reelcraft, tell us how you describe the place where you work. It's probably changed over the years, but how do you describe Reelcraft to people who don't know a lot about it?
Well, it's manufacturing, right? Like manufacturing's big up in this part of the state. I don't think people realize that, but it really is. We have a lot of manufacturers up around this area, but we make hose cord and cable reels. You say that, and you say a reel, like people don't quite understand. Is that a fishing reel? No, this is like, and it's not really the reel. I mean, I say that, but it's not like the reel you're going to go to maybe Home Depot and get, right? These are industrial strength products that manage hoses of all kinds and cords of all kinds and applications of all kinds.
So this is compressed air. This is for
fluids.
Yes, and it also anything with fire safety and that sort of thing as well?
Could be, yes.
Okay. So what is your role? What does it comprise of in a manufacturing setting? Who are you marketing to, and what's the story you're telling to those audiences?
Right. So we sell through distribution. Like you can't call up Reelcraft and buy a reel, right? And we don't sell through retail. You're not going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and find it. So we sell through distribution. So our customers really are distributors, but also our end users. You have a brand. So we really focus on pushing that brand to the end users, pushing our product information out to our distributors. And we actually have a campaign we're running right now, and those two are the focus, as well as our Reelcraft employees, right? You want to let them know that the focus of our campaign is really our quality, not the cheapest product you're going to find on the market. So we have to kind of sell that, and we want to make sure that we educate all three of those groups of people.
Okay. And I think you recently shared on LinkedIn a video. Was that part of the employee series?
No, that it might have been, but the one I shared just recently is part of our customer stories. We go out and we meet with customers and we share their stories.
Yeah, if you don't mind giving a synopsis of that video, because I thought it was a pretty great story.
Yeah, so we have a customer out of Tennessee, and they actually they're an OEM, so they buy our products and put it on their trucks. They make wreckers.
Yep.
And they also utilize Railcraft within their facility to make these trucks. So it's a pretty neat combination. Yeah. We went down there and we were going to create a video about how they use our products to make theirs. Yeah. And in doing so, we met with a guy that works there now, but for 25 years he had been a tow truck driver. They build tow trucks, right? And he was telling us about how this reel, like, products are great products on the trucks, including this reel. If it saves him 5 minutes on every tow, it can save him 30 minutes a day. It could save his life. Wow. There's a tow truck driver's killed every 6 days on the side of the road.
Wow.
So when we were talking with him, we're like, that's a story we have to tell now.
Yeah,
you know, like,
sure.
And so just share how our products can help make the world safer, healthier, more productive, which is really a motto that we live by. So we do that. We do this with this campaign. We go around and we tell this story to build the brand, but also kind of to educate the people building our products, right? Our Railcraft employees to say, hey, look, what you're doing matters and it's important.
Yeah, that's great. And, gives them a sense of urgency, but also a sense of pride in what they're doing matters. And sometimes in manufacturing, that can be hard to come by if you're just making a part that goes into a part. So what's changed over the course of your time at Railcraft? I know the answer is everything, but you were in more of a role that was a doer, and now you're more on the strategy side. Yeah. How have you evolved as a marketer as you've taken that role on?
Well, that's kind of a two-part question, because the first part's really absolutely true. Thinking back, I've been there almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years next year. What we did 19 years ago, we do none of that. Absolutely. Almost 10 years ago, we don't do trade shows anymore. We don't print advertising, really focus on digital content.
Oh, really? So no trade shows?
We do not do. Yeah, we don't. Okay. We might attend some, but we don't show at them. So it's just the focus is different. And I think as a marketer, you have to be ready for that. You have to be flexible and you have to learn. And as far as like more of the strategy goes, I've built a team. We have a team of freelancers that are amazing. We've kind of focused on getting people that are experts at what they do. So a script writer, a videographer, a photographer, that's what they do. Instead of having to wear the many hats myself and grab the camera and try to do it as best as I can, I'm going to get somebody that, that does that really well.
So are you the only person on the marketing team internally and the rest is contractors?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you used that model?
We've had a couple of people within the group over time, and then I think it just about 3 or 4 years ago, we brought in a freelancer to do our 50-year video, and she brought on her scriptwriter and her videographer. And when we did this, we thought we kind of felt like this is good. We felt this, and so that's when we started our Ready When You Are campaign. Is about 3 years ago. Yeah. We brought the 3 of them on. And then she also does freelance with us as well as for other social and other email, and it's just. It works really well because you get people that are experts at what they do and share that passion for what they do with you, and it's worked out really well for us. Yeah,
and that's really reflective. It's funny because I just had a conversation today with a college student at now PFW, and he's on the basketball team. So his life right now is basketball and class. But one of the things that he and I were talking about was, okay, what are you going to do after basketball? And he is interested in marketing, and I was talking to him about how that word encompasses so many different things. And when I started my career in marketing 30-ish years ago, I was doing a little bit of everything because it was kind of a generalist role. Now I couldn't. We have, I think, 45 employees at Asher, and the vast majority of them are specialists, where if they're buying digital media, that's all they do. They're developing websites, that's all they do. So I think what you're talking about is a reflection overall of how marketing has evolved, where you really need to know your stuff, you need to specialize, and that's a great thing because it allows you to go in with a lot of depth, but it also can be a little bit of a challenge if you want to be a utility player. It's hard to do that today. Yeah. So was there a time when you were actually doing all of those things on your own? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Like was as recently as probably 5 years ago. Really? Right? Yeah. And you just start to see our company grew, right? Yeah. We've grown. We've had a lot of growth. And you just start to, I think I had a boss that came in and he just saw it, kind of me pulling my hair out, like, I can't do this. And you start to realize that at some point you need help. And I can't tell you where that is, but I think every company knows where that growth is. You hit a certain part or a certain growth level and like, we need help with this. I can't do it anymore on my own.
Yeah. Well, and I applaud you for recognizing that, because there's a lot of people who kind of persist and they're afraid to give up. Some of it's perceived job security. Well, if I give this up, what am I going to do? Some of it is, thinking that it's going to take longer to find someone who can do it well than it would to just do it yourself. Delegation doesn't come easy to a lot of people.
No, and it's scary. It is scary. You give that stuff up and you feel like that was your value, like that's what value I bring. But you realize, what I realized is that we can do so much more, and you're actually looked at in a higher light when you bring in these professionals and you do a much better job. It actually was better.
So how did you learn to pivot from, the person who's doing the work to now the person who's more focused on strategy? What specifically did you learn that allowed you to focus at that high level? What are some of the things you maybe had access to, or some of the things that you did that have allowed you to grow in your career?
Well, finding the right people, like is just, lucky. I think we were so lucky. We found really great people that actually work well with us, right? They have the same mindset as Railcraft, right? And which is industrial manufacturing, so it's more conservative, I would say. But also having a support system in your people around you, like at Railcraft, that wanted you to succeed, that wanted you to do better and to do well. So I think those two things were what really allowed me to confidently and comfortably do that. Yeah.
So what's important to you when you're looking for these freelancer partners? Obviously competence. You want someone who can do the job well, but a lot of times that's just kind of the start. What are some other qualities that are important to you if you're going to partner with someone?
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, I like somebody that's going to fit into our group. So I have there's the three of us, but we communicate daily. I'm seeing them all the time. We travel a lot together. So you almost have to have that, like, they have to fit, right? Like that's any job you hire for. Sure. You have to feel the good fit. And then just to believe and understand probably our campaign and our product, right? It's not flashy. It's not, it's industrial manufacturing. It's a tool. So you have to understand that and like, know who your audience is and what they're going to want, like we can be creative and we have been, but there's a limit too,
So let's talk about that a little bit, because, this is, and no disrespect intended in this, we work with a lot of manufacturing clients at Asher, but I don't think there's a lot of kids who growing up say, boy, I really hope I work on marketing for a manufacturing entity. What do you think people are missing when they have those thoughts? Like, what would you say to kind of defend the world you work in from those who maybe say, how exciting could that be?
Right. I felt that too. I hit my 19 year. I'm like, I can't believe because when I came, I thought for sure this is just something to, the stepping stone, right? I'm moving on to something funner. But no, it's marketing, right? And I think as long as you love the product, like you don't have to love it, you believe in it, right? I believe in our product. It's a great product. And so when you do that, it's easy to do what you do. And then having maybe leadership and the ability to do what you want to do, like freedom, to do what I want to do, and you can still be very creative, I think. With it, you just have to get creative with how you are.
Well, and some of the creativity comes in on the problem solving side.
100%.
It's like, hey, here's something we're trying to accomplish. It's an audience that maybe doesn't even want our message or don't know that they need it. How do we get it in front of them in a way that attracts their attention and gets them to give us a shot? Right? That's a lot of what we do here. And it's a tough challenge, and it's only gotten tougher over the years, but it's one of the things that makes it fun. And you mentioned sort of the people you're surrounded with. I've said this about the team we have at Asher, that as long as I still had autonomy and as long as I was still working on creative problem solving, it really doesn't matter what that problem is. As long as I was working with these people, I would enjoy it because of the people more so than the end products we're working on.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love the relationships. That's one of the things I like the most about the job. And we're storytelling all the time. So I'm meeting new people, and the autonomy is huge. Like just the right to make a mistake, right? Like you can't feel afraid.
Let's take a moment to talk about something that can revolutionize your business: branding with Asher Agency. Ever wonder why some companies just stick in your mind? That's the power of great branding, and it's exactly what Asher delivers. Visit AsherAgency.com for more info.
Yeah, I had an experience. I don't think I've ever told this story on the podcast. I had an experience early on here at Asher. It was in about my first 5 years. And the founder of Asher was a gentleman named Tim Borney, who's since passed away. But he is probably one of the 2 or 3 most influential people in my career. And I remember that we made a big mistake, and it was primarily my fault. It was a typo on a billboard campaign. And there were a lot of billboards out there that had the typo on it. And I remember just my head was in my hands. I'm like, I'm going to get fired. But what he did is we went for a drive, and he said, okay, let's look at it out in the world. And I think his end game was, I want you to feel how bad it is, but I also want you to realize it's not the end of the world, right? And it was more the way he approached it. And I think that a good employer, you don't tolerate the same mistake over and over again, but everybody makes mistakes, especially as quickly as things move in today's world. It's almost inevitable.
I know, especially with what we do, right? Marketing, everybody sees your mistake. There's a lot of people in real craft where if they might make a mistake, and the only people that know are the people within those walls. But we make a typo or an error, a wrong post, everybody sees it.
100%, 100%. So how do you, given, and please don't give away any trade secrets, but how do you approach social media as a manufacturing entity? What platforms are you using, and what are you trying to do with content?
We have really 4 platforms we're focused on right now. We do, and there's a purpose, what I've seen with all of them. We do LinkedIn, obviously. That's more of a professional. You see a lot more of our professional employees on that. Our parent company, because we have a parent company. Facebook is a lot of our community. This is a lot of people that work at RealCraft. This is a lot of local people. And Instagram is what I feel is more end users, right? We get a lot of influencers. We have influencers come to us through Instagram. And so that's how I kind of go after all 3 of those platforms. And then we've created a lot of video content. We do about 13 to 15 videos a year. So we utilize YouTube as well just to house those. And really just recently have put more of a focus on, okay, we've got a lot of content. Maybe we should start to grow YouTube and really think about this. But we create content for all of our videos. We use it to push. We've seen a lot of success when we create content about our people, mostly on Facebook, right? Because that's our people. But what I utilize social media for is, I always say, I want to bring the inside out. It's that's a connection, that intimate connection with a brand that people like. Like if they know you, they have that intimate connection with you, and then you find loyal users.
Yeah. I think that's great that you have sort of a point of differentiation for each platform. That it's not, we're going to do the same thing on every platform and hope something sticks, but there's a reason why, LinkedIn is sort of your sales engine. Facebook is more about culture and community. I think that's great. So Jennifer, what are some of the projects that are at the top of your list? Some of the big things you're working on as, we get rolling into a new year, and as you're trying to grow and trying to keep the brand out there. What's at the top of your list?
Well, I think we've alluded to it. It's our Ready When You Are campaign. And I can talk a little bit more about that, but we started this campaign, I think in like 2022. And what we decided to do is, like I said before, not the cheapest reel in the market, right? So we started with the quality campaigns, like, hey, we got to go out there and educate people on our product. And it evolved into this Ready When You Are, which is a slogan that came about from interviews and just writing. And we actually trademarked that, and we have the trademark for our Ready When You Are. So we've continued on with that. We're going to continue on. That usually consists of, like I said, videos about our employees to share for that intimacy part. We do customer testimonial videos, because I always love when my saying is, I can tell you the product's great, but I work for RealCraft, so what do I know? But if someone else says it's great, it holds a lot more value. Obviously, that's why testimonials are so good. We've started doing a maker series. We have some influencers that we work with, so we've went out and done videos with them to talk about how they use our products. We do end of year videos. So we do a little bit of, like I said, 13 to 15 videos, a little bit all over the board there.
Yeah.
We create social content and email blasts to go along with all of that, and then just really kind of try to drive home that message of ready when you are and the quality of our product.
Yeah. So is everything you do customer and prospect facing, or are you doing anything relevant to employee recruitment or culture? Are you doing that as well?
We have. We have in the past. We did some videos along with the Ready. We use that Ready When You Are for that like recruitment, you know. So we have those. I think that's not something right now that's a focus for us, you know.
Yeah.
So they're still there and they work. They're relevant.
Yeah, what sparked that question was I was thinking, hey, Ready When You Are is also a great careers message.
Oh, yeah,
so,
and we've utilized
works
it
in
for
a number of
that.
different ways.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, I want to pivot to a few quick hit questions, things kind of reflect what we've talked about, but put a little bit of a specific focus on a few different things that I think are important to our audience. So the first has to do with career success. You've built a really successful career at a company now for almost 20 years. What have you learned along the way that you think translates to anyone in any career? What do you think is the key to career success and fulfillment?
For marketing, at least, I can tell you I would say two things, right? I would say you have to be flexible and you have to be willing to just learn. The stuff I'm doing today, I probably didn't know how to do 10 years ago. And being flexible goes along with that. And we've talked about that. You have to be willing to change. And you know, social media is big right now. Who's to say 5 years from now it will be? I mean, AI is coming out. We're learning about that. So you just have to be flexible and ready and roll with it and go and be willing to learn more stuff. And that's really like the biggest advice I could give. I
think that's great advice. You know, I say this, I know this is going to date me and make me sound like a dinosaur, in part because I am, but I tell people all the time, my first job after college, I did not have an email address and the company didn't have a website because those things didn't exist. And now that's 99% of my job.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I came into marketing as a writer. I was an English major and I knew what I didn't want to do professionally, but didn't really have much of an idea what I did want to do. And ended up finding a career in marketing. But the entry point was as a writer, and now, other than emails, I don't write much anymore. And I've kind of had to learn what's important to the end user audiences we serve and put aside the things that are comfortable. Right?
Yep.
Okay, second question. In terms of myths or misconceptions, this could be about manufacturing, could be about Realcraft, it could be about anything at all. What's a myth or misconception that you want to clear up, or maybe something that isn't appreciated well enough and you want to amplify?
Yeah, I think the myth would be that what we do is easy. Right? Like we do videos that, you know, for a 1 minute video, it could take us months to work on. You know, we start with an interview, we write a script, we do a storyboard, we might have to travel, we may spend a whole day recording, setting up lights and gathering audio. And then after that, my team, I don't get involved with this as much, it does the editing on the back end. Like there's so much work that goes into this. I talked about, we did a couple of videos with influencers and it was funny because they're so used to holding their phone out like this and talking to their phone and maybe using some software to edit it or whatever, add music. But that's not what we do. And they were kind of shocked. And it was kind of a culture shock for them. Like, this is different. They weren't used to what we did when we came down there and like, just trust us. And they all loved it. And they were great to work with. But I think that's the biggest myth is people just think, well, that's easy. You take a camera and you shoot, you edit it. And like, no, it's so much more than that. It is so much more.
Well, and Jared, who is our in-house videographer, he was on the podcast and he was talking about how actually recording the video is about 1% of the work that goes into making a video. And I guess I knew that, but had never really thought of it in that way. And it's true.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of different skills. Yeah, you know, when you mention that people think it's easy, I think that's especially true. It's true across the board, but especially true of social media because people personally are using these tools.
Yeah.
You know, I always laugh when a young professional or someone just getting started in their career will say, oh, social media is fun. And I was like, yeah, well, just wait until you're doing it as a job and it's not fun anymore. So yeah, no, I think that's great perspective. And really giving credit to the people who work really hard so that what they do seems effortless.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to make it seem like it doesn't take much work.
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Obviously, marketers are always looking for ways to get more done in the same amount of time. always looking for ways to produce higher quality content. What's something that you use? It could be an app, it could be a trick, it could be a tip, maybe it's a book that you read, maybe it's something analog that you think helps you get the job done.
There's so many little tips and tricks. And I think I'm going to kind of go a little left to center on this one. But honestly, what's helped me so much, so I talked about we meet with customers, right? And we do videos with them. So I think it would be this relationship building aspect of it. I think building relationships with these people helps so much. They open up to you. They're willing to do more for you. I just got a text today from one of our influencers. He had a Real Craft Yeti mug and just was like, hey, it's a great morning for coffee. That was it. And it's just, you continue that relationship with them and they're willing to do more for you.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what's helped the most is just having this great relationship with them to build their confidence in us and to allow them to create content for us.
Yeah.
So that would be what I think because like there's so many apps and there's so much stuff and it's going to change. Next year there's going to be something new and so you can find something good. But that at the core, building relationship is going to help you.
Well, and it's the one thing that's the hardest to duplicate is does someone feel like they're part of a community that the brand and the people who are surrounded by the brand are part of? You know, it's one of the things I love about testimonial is number one, a lot of great things can happen when you get out of the way and let someone else tell the story.
Yeah.
Number two, the single best way to amplify the story is to let the audience tell the story. You know, when they have a role in telling a story, it becomes their story, and it's much more likely they're going to remember it, much more likely they're going to share it, and much more likely it's going to be credible to their audiences who you're probably not going to reach otherwise.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like you've kind of mastered that over the years.
Well, I enjoy it. I can tell you that. I don't know about mastering it, but I'm definitely enjoying it. And then you learn. You know, you learn from it. If you want to be like a student of marketing and always learning, and like I said, always you learn. Yeah.
Well, and especially I think in manufacturing where a lot of brands put maybe too much emphasis on the product. And it really, I think it's a good reminder that none of that matters unless people understand how it affects people. And once they understand that, they can see themselves in the story. But if it's just about the widget, if it's just about the product, you know, that's not going to get you very far.
Yeah, there's only so much you can talk about a reel, right? It's a pretty basic tool. So, like, I love how you said that. That's so great. Yeah. How do other people see it, and what is their experience with it? And let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, well, all right, Jennifer. Since I said something profound, I'm going to quit there.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun hearing your story and hearing more about Real Craft.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And thanks to everybody who took the opportunity to listen to this episode of the Asher Marketing Podcast. We'll be back next time with another great guest, and we hope you'll join us then.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our show and leave us a review. It really helps others find us. Visit our website at asheragency.com for more resources and updates.